this job is great in so many ways, and I think people think the job is great because we get to tell the story, because we do these effects, because we get these experiences, because we go to Celebration, right? But also great is just standing on the side and watching somebody. Again, like I said, I saw that child inside John that he experienced Star Wars. I sit there with Peyton. You see your crew just staring at Mark, and you realize they're remembering what it meant to them. And you realize that you've been a part of constructing something that's giving that experience to people. This good feeling, which fundamentally Star Wars should deliver a good feeling, an uplifting feeling in you and your family, your kids, whatever.
Welcome back to Live Action Star Wars. I'm James.
I'm Ralph.
And today, in this bonus episode, we are going to talk about the recently released Disney Gallery, the making of the Mandalorian Season 2 finale.
Very specific title.
Yeah, I mean, they list this as a special extra episode of Disney Gallery, so this is a special extra episode of live action. We will be going through the Disney Gallery series at some point, but this one is just come out yesterday as we're recording this, and if you're listening to this and watching this straight away, it came out yesterday. Hopefully you've all watched it. If not, pause this, go watch that, then come back.
Right. This is a weird one because this is the first time we've had a new live action Star Wars while we've been doing this.
Yeah.
So we wanted to hit it.
They did announce the release date, but we didn't think about it scheduling wise. Otherwise, we could have probably done this as a full episode.
Right. We would have had to have thought ahead of time because as of this recording, we have 2 full episodes in the can coming your way over the next couple of weeks. So it would have been a juggling thing.
Yeah. Basically, doing it this way means that you get this episode a lot quicker.
When I was doing Kaiju podcast with Jorge, we would have to do our early recording things. We would do it ahead of time, leave a blank spot because we knew the release date of a new movie that was coming out, and then get that recording in time to stick it in between the episodes. Because he was working off Hawaii 5-0, I was working third shifts, so our schedule was really weird, and so we had to really, really bank our episodes. We never missed a date. We did it every other Monday, and so doing that was such a pain in the ass that I'm like, when this came up, I'm like, we'll just do it when it happens and call it a bonus.
We'll just throw in a bonus. I mean, so that's it. So far, we haven't missed an episode either. We haven't missed a Tuesday release.
Right. I think we'll be good.
I think we should be good. Yeah. We'll have to see. We might shift our release date when new shows are coming out every week.
A lot of them are coming out too.
Yeah. And they've announced already that everything new on Disney Plus is coming on Wednesdays. So we might shift to an end of the week release schedule so that we can be more current if we can.
Right.
Because you don't want to be waiting a week for us.
Right. And then also, I just thinking about that is with the quick turnaround, the episodes probably won't be as chock full of video bits.
Yeah.
So you'll probably have, I think the people who are listening to the episodes on iTunes or wherever won't be missing much.
No,
but we'll figure it all out when it comes.
We've already said those ones will be a lot more reactionary anyway.
I've been podcasting since 2006.
Yeah,
and so this is my first video podcast, and so editing and feeling my way through it has been really interesting. So
it's all still an experiment. This is why we started doing these episodes now, is so that when we get to the main bulk of it, will be the new shows.
Right.
We can be on point and get them out nice and quick for you all.
Right.
So what did you think of this finale? The focus is on Luke. It's not really about the rest of the episode at all. It is it's a whole 42-minute episode about bringing Luke back.
They barely show the
anyone
Mandalorian
else.
in it.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
Like, Pedro's got like a couple of like, I think they do one talking head with him.
Yeah.
But I feel like even that is pulled from an old interview. There's nothing new.
Well, when Disney Gallery season 1 came out,
Yeah,
it was fucking awesome. I loved it. They had
such
the round
good-
table, and then they had like the behind the scenes stuff. It was a nice, like, I don't know, 6 or 7 or 8, no, like maybe like 8, 9
I think
episodes.
It was, yeah, I think it was.
Because there was one whole one dedicated just to Ludwig Göransson's
Yeah.
music. So that was awesome. Then season 2 comes out, and it's just
one episode.
One episode, 45 minutes or so, and completely omitted anything dealing with Luke Skywalker, which I was like, are they not talking about this? And based on this episode alone, I have a feeling they didn't want it to get out. They would have had to have produced that documentary before the Luke scene came out. And man,
also with the COVID issues of not being able to have everyone around the table and things like that, I think that affected it a lot. But also they seem to have shifted to doing just these one episodes. They do it for the Marvel series as well. After they're done, they do like a one special 45-minute documentary wrapping up that entire season sort of thing.
Right. And then like the fact that I wish they would have announced it right after.
Yeah.
But I'm glad they finally did do this, like a whole episode dedicated to just this Luke Skywalker.
It deserved
thing is amazing. Yeah.
It deserved it. And obviously there's a big old emphasis on the fact that this secret was completely kept under wraps. And I think we said it when like we got to the end of season 2, just chit-chatting on Twitter or whatever, how no one knew. And it's amazing. Right. And even they were saying we were refreshing as we were like in post-production and as other episodes were coming out that we had no idea. Like
we all assumed, because we're Star Wars fans.
Yep.
Even though we don't do it on the show, we do watch the animated series. You read the books. And we all kind of had our own sort of list of who's alive at this time. And
who's potential.
So the short list is Ezra, possibly, or Ahsoka. Now we knew it by this time. Ahsoka, Luke Skywalker, and then that's it, right?
That's it, like that we know about for sure, sort of thing.
Right. And what's funny is, I just realized right now, Plo Koon blew up in Revenge of the Sith.
Yeah. Oh yeah. No, he's shown being killed on screen. He's not even like one of the off-screen people, like say a Quinlan Vos or something. Like he's shown on screen dying.
Right. So I love them going through the effort of writing Plo Koon.
Like
the design,
the concept art, everything, having him on set in a mask.
But that's what's great about the thing is you need the concept art regardless.
Yeah.
So that the directors and everybody knows.
Just for blocking. Yeah.
Yeah. And so you just tell everyone it's Plo Koon. So now you don't have a secret version of Luke of that scene. That's like, a whole department worth of people that now plausible deniability.
Yeah.
Or,
and they said that that's how they shot it with the other actors, was with Plo Koon or just like a nobody sort of thing.
Right.
So because Katie Sackhoff, I think, has recently just given another interview or has talked about the fact that, when she found out about it, it was Plo Koon in the scene.
Right.
It's cool. Again, it's as you say, it's plausible deniability. Like they can't turn around and drop a spoiler by mistake.
Right. Right. But yeah, for me, I just now realized that it would have raised red flags. It would be interesting to see how if it was Plo Koon, how they would have gotten around it.
There would have been some,
because even the production art, they should have had some sort of like eye patch or some sort of a.
Yeah. That's it. I mean, and when you see like in the mask, he's still got like human hands. It's not like Plo Koon hands. So it's obviously like I don't know if anyone on set questioned it. They probably, but we'll fix that in post. Don't worry. Like it's easier to do the hands digitally.
It's funny because Dave Filoni's a big Plo Koon fan.
Yeah.
I know this because of like years ago at Comic-Con, him and his friend Giancarlo Volpe, who produced the Green Lantern animated series.
And Avatar as well.
Sure. I still haven't seen it, He also worked on Clone Wars. He did one of the kaiju episodes.
Oh, okay, cool.
I believe the second one.
Yeah.
But he dressed as Kit Fisto and Dave Filoni as Plo Koon.
Yep.
I'm gonna put a picture in down there so you can see them together. So I like that idea. I like the idea of, well, we got to shoot something and we don't want anybody to know what it really is. It rivals the whole Obi-Wan killed your father.
It's very reminiscent. Yeah. That's exactly the feeling that I got.
And just watching Mark Hamill talk about that again, which we've seen him talk about that story a lot, and now talk about this new story and keeping secrets. And he was, trained his whole life to keep these secrets. Even though we did all have the short list of like 3 or 4 Jedi, like nothing.
Getting him back felt like getting Harrison Ford back. Like it felt on that level of like he's not going to do this. Not after everything else. Is he going to want to do this?
Well, the thing is, if you watch which we're going to do eventually, watch the documentary, The Director and the Jedi, which is the episode 8 documentary. He had some real issues with how Luke was handled.
He did.
And he played it brilliantly.
He's a professional. He's a consummate professional. And he sort of has said, he's like, I disagree with it. This isn't how I was hoping Luke would go, but this is not my story. I'm not the storyteller. I'm just a performer.
Right. And I'm not, like, I have a ton of issues with The Last Jedi, which I'm sure we'll get to some point. But none of it centers around Luke Skywalker. I love Luke Skywalker. I thought he was great in The Last Jedi. But knowing Mark Hamill's
one of his best performances.
Yeah. Knowing Mark Hamill's hangups and listening to him talk about seeing Luke in his prime, something that never gotten taken care of. Like him talking about, you get to see everything in James Bond leading up to him getting his 00 status, and then nothing beyond that.
Yeah, he said that's a conversation that he'd had with George back in like 83. He's like, isn't it funny how we watched him be a farm boy, then we watched him be a trainee, then we watched him sort of become a Jedi, but he never got to see the prime.
Right. And so it feels like between his thoughts of Luke in episode 8 and his discussions with George in, Return of the Jedi, that made the decision, so much easier to him to like listening to Favreau and Filoni and Peyton Reed talk about being scared that he would say no. And then seeing Mark Hamill, where she was pretty much like, yeah, of course I'm going to do it. Yeah. Like, it's so funny seeing both sides of the story.
It seemed like, again, it was one of those things that he would have done it because he's Mark Hamill. He's like, well, if I don't do it, you're going to put Luke in there anyway. Right. I may as well, like, of course I'm going to be there for whatever I can. Like he's great. It's Mark Hamill. We all love Mark Hamill. He takes ownership. He takes ownership of the character, and he also feels like a custodian of it. He feels protective in a way, but also willing to let people play with it.
He seemed totally cool with them getting somebody else, and he liked the dude that was the stand-in.
And he was complimenting the guy's acting, and he really did. Yeah.
Speaking of compliments, I like that Jon Favreau mentioned the fans and how great the fans are and how kind they've been, and then also mentioning, like, in the same breath, how great Kathleen Kennedy is.
He put her over big, and it's. I thought that was a few people on Twitter mentioned it and sort of given that exact quote, and it's like, it's almost as if she, cares and knows what she's doing.
It's funny. I was watching of course, because I just do. I was watching the Skywalker saga, the documentary on the Rise of Skywalker digital download, but and she's always there, always smiling, always having a good time, and just kind of letting the directors do what they do.
Yeah.
And it's, I mean, listen.
I think she'd be a dream to work with as a director because she's there to facilitate. She's a producer. Right. She is a producer. She's not meddling. She's not going to get too involved. Like Feige, for all of Kevin Feige's positives, they're his movies. The directors just tell the actors what to do on set.
Yeah, look at Edgar Wright.
Exactly, and he's not the only one. Like, there's been a few people that have dropped out. They are his movies, and that works great for the Marvel Cinematic Universe. But for Star Wars, like she's letting the directors tell their stories despite what people think of them. Like some people love them, some people hate the stuff that she's done.
Yeah.
But yeah, she seems like for a director, a dream to work with as a producer.
Right. And I have a feeling, well, with like Solo, I think we mentioned this during the Solo episode, that the Lord and Miller of it all,
Yeah.
I think came down to Lawrence Kasdan.
It feels that way. It feels that way.
But anyway, regardless, speaking of Edgar Wright, who didn't do his Marvel movie Ant-Man, Peyton Reed came in and did the Ant-Man movie. And he did the de-aging for Michelle Pfeiffer and Michael Douglas.
Yeah.
And I mean, those
look great. It looks so good.
Those look seamless.
Yeah.
The Luke is a little bit tougher for me because I know Luke so much.
Exactly the same for me.
It's not. Yeah.
And they talk about the technology a lot and how they looked at every different possible option. And so they did the deep fake stuff. They did what they could with that. And they had a guy who was literally locked in a room running through every possible thing. And it's great. And so you've got the people now. I'm sure that we can chuck a link to the video here of the guy who made it on his own. He put the scene in and he did the deep fake of Luke that does look better than what we got. It does look better. It does look better. But it's also, he's probably done that 8, 9, 10 months after the fact. So technology, this sort of technology just was always rapidly expanding and getting better. So he's been able to do that now. And to their credit, they hired that guy.
Right.
So it's like, okay, you're an expert with this stuff. Bring you in.
Okay. Why would you hire that guy?
Well, because you want to do more. Of course you want to do more. And because you've seen
coming up.
that what he's done is better than what they were able to do.
Right.
So, yeah.
And what's coming up? Obi-Wan series. I'm telling you, we got to get somewhere between Ewan McGregor and Alec Guinness. I think there's a sideshow figure. Once again, I'll put it down here, where it was, I believe, a premium format statue of Obi-Wan, like in between.
And it's got the backpack on, and I believe that it was based off of the cover, or at least some artwork for the book Kenobi, which is now a Legends book, where he's on Tatooine and everything. Yeah, but it's excellent
because them hiring him now.
Yeah,
and we know they're working on Obi-Wan now.
Yeah, they're in post-production, I think. On
yeah. So,
and on Andor and everything else, where you're going to have Bail Organa.
Well, Bail Organa could be in there because Jimmy Smits.
Jimmy Smits is ageless.
We're like what, like I guess 15 years from
Revenge of the Sith. Yeah,
but then we're only a couple of years away from Rogue One, and he looked great in that.
He looked great in that. Same with her name's escaping me, who played Mon Mothma in Sith deleted scenes.
Genevieve.
Genevieve.
I forget her last name. I just know Genevieve.
Yeah.
My grandma's name was Genevieve, and
there you go. You'll remember it.
So I just remember that.
But yeah, like having those guys in, it's great, and I'm glad that we've got them.
Yeah. It makes me excited.
Maybe we get more Tarkin. Maybe we get a.
I mean, this takes place obviously before Rogue One.
Yeah. I mean, we've seen Tarkin in all the animated series at this point, so it makes sense. He's around. Who knows? Regardless, they've hired this guy, and he's great. And if he can bring what he's done just on a fan scale, like with the backing of Lucasfilm with him, he's only going to get better.
Right. And I know I say I hate that the universe or the galaxy is so small, and I'm tired of the crossovers. And maybe that my least favorite part of the Bad Batch is that there was a classic character of the week that showed up.
Yeah.
But I was just thinking right now, Alden Ehrenreich could totally show up in Andor, and I would be totally fine with that. I don't know in what capacity, but
yeah, I mean, he could bump into a smuggler. Like,
you'd have to figure out the timelines.
Yeah. I mean, it depends.
Or Chewbacca pre-pit.
Interesting. Yeah, that would it be? I mean, we don't know exactly when Andor's taking place, so it might be both of them. But it depends also because there's the deleted scene. I don't think it was ever shot, but there's a scene in the Rogue One novel or the solo novel, I think it is, with Enfys Nest giving the coaxium that Han gives to her onto Saw Gerrera and his people. So like, there's a connection between those two films. So
Got it.
if you have Enfys Nest in either of the shows, she can pop up wherever.
Yeah, but look, I feel like Saw. Yeah, Saw wouldn't be in Andor because that's the first time he meets him in Rogue One.
He's looking for him.
Yeah. Trying to think about what else I want to talk about. Okay, so Favreau. This is something that happened while I was watching the episode. Seemed to happen to Jon Favreau as well. Watching the scene, you see the X-wing. There's the build-up to, and Filoni. This is one thing he really does right is you see the X-wing. It could be anybody's X-wing, but it's an X-wing. Then you see a dark cloak figure.
You see the X-wing coming into the hangar as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Any Jedi.
Yep.
Cool. Then you see a green lightsaber. Could be now who has green lightsabers. I think Ezra has one.
I think we see do we see a lightsaber? Do we see that it's green because it's on the monitors? They're watching on the monitors. I don't even think we see it's green at first.
But there's this build-up.
Yeah.
And we finally see that it's Luke. Now, for me watching live, as soon as I saw the this, I knew it was Luke. Yeah. And
it's a gloved hand, isn't it? He's holding it in a gloved hand.
Right. And then you see the glove hand, and then you're like trying to look at the other hand to see if it's also gloved. Anyway, leading up to this, while watching it, I'm trying to hold back tears.
I failed. Yeah,
we watched this at like 5 it was still dark out. It was like 5 a.m.
Oh wow.
We woke up and I told my wife, I'm like, let's just go. I need to watch it. And we watched it. And she's like, okay, let's go.
Yep.
I started like shaking. I'm like convulsing. I can't believe it. It's Luke Skywalker. And he takes his hood off. And I'm like,
the music,
completely bawling. And she's got her hand on me, trying to calm me down. I'm just like bawling, like uncontrollably. It's embarrassing how much I was into this scene.
It was,
But then you get the scene, you get the moment with Grogu and the Mandalorian where he takes the helmet off.
Yeah.
And you could just see Grogu like just looking at his face and taking it in. And I'm just like done.
I'm a wreck. Yeah, I was the same. I was exactly the same.
But when R2-D2 showed up, I fucking lost it, dude. Like I lost it. And hearing Filoni or hearing Favreau say that Filoni says, well, R2-D2 could be there.
Yeah, if we've got Luke, we've got R2.
Like we all saw the X-Wing. We all know how X-Wings work. We all know how they work.
But we've been so wrapped up in the moment of it all, and then the action of it, and everything, and then the emotion of just seeing Luke and the music swelling with Luke.
Right.
It's like he was there. He was in the lift with him, but we didn't see it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's like, how is that the height of it? Like what is it about R2? Like,
I mean, he's incredible. He's R2-D2.
Like you spend all this time on creating this dude's face for however long it took and keeping it secret. But
and then it's a robot
that the really one that just knocked me out.
Yeah.
I do. It's funny watching R2 in some of the shots is green instead of blue.
Okay.
And I'm assuming that's because it's blue screen. There's a lot of blue screen in the shot.
Yeah.
So it would show through the blue of the R2s.
It's
like on set there was also a green R2 I saw in some shots.
Okay, I didn't notice.
Which really, really was like, how dare you? How dare you, imposter? I was like, really like, They should have changed the color for the documentary.
Change the background, or change the background colors. Like they don't need to shoot on blue; they can shoot on green. How dare they?
Right. I think the first time I saw it, I had no issues with the effects. I
still think it looks very good.
I mean, my eyes were fucking just glazed over.
Yeah. I think they were
so
like they didn't need
it's
to
the
rub
best way to watch
Vaseline on
it.
the lens. They didn't need to rub any Vaseline
Right.
on the lens. We all had it in our eyes.
Right. But it, I mean, I hate the character of the week stuff. I know Mandalorian kind of shied away from that, except for
There was a few.
Boba Fett.
Yeah, there was a
Um,
few, and I know that people were complaining about it at the time. I mean, I can
Yeah.
only imagine that the people that were complaining about that hated the Bad Batch. But but it didn't feel that way with Luke. I don't
No.
remember hearing anyone complaining
No.
about that.
Because story-wise, when you think of the short list, we've already seen Ahsoka in the series.
It's the
Are you
one.
really gonna bring in Ezra? Like
It's,
is your
nothing
casual
is
Star
going to
Wars
have
fan
that
gonna
weight.
care?
Nothing is
No.
going to carry the same weight, and it's
No.
not going to make them sense
But
story-wise. It won't make sense.
what I like about Luke is it totally does
Yeah.
make sense for the story.
And the timeline and everything. It's like
Everything.
they pretty much confirmed here that this is pre him establishing any academy.
Right.
So, I mean, hopefully we'll get to see it in the show, but I think it's fair to assume as well that Grogu never really makes it to the academy. I don't think. I think he'll be gone from Luke's care. I don't know
I
because
don't know how they're going to do it. The only thing I can think of is we finally see a planet of Yodas.
or at least a colony of some sort. Yeah,
Yeah.
possibly.
Or have them hand them off to the caretakers
Yeah,
on Octo.
maybe.
Yeah.
Octo, yeah.
It would make sense. It's a sacred Jedi place.
Mm.
He's got to go find more Force sensitive people.
Yep.
We know they're out there. Your Broom
There's-
Boys. Your
Yeah,
Reyes.
I mean, there's at least 4, I believe, by the time. I mean, he says that like he had a dozen or so, didn't he? I believe.
Yeah.
But yeah,
So I could see him. I could see him bringing him there, and then when shit goes south with Kylo Ren, I could see him going back there. We just don't see Grogu.
Yeah. I think we're going to see a lot more Grogu. I think we're going to see Grogu through many ages. I think we will eventually see a Grogu as an adult. It'll be interesting.
Yeah, what is that? The High Republic. They have Yoda
And
but
Yaddle.
younger.
Yaddle's just popped up.
But they're, like,
Yeah.
younger, where
Yeah.
he looks kind of like more
Buff.
upright and svelte and not as wrinkled.
Yeah.
So like,
I mean, he's still
now-
quite old. He's still a Grand Master at that time, but he's also kind of on sabbatical from the council because he's off training just younglings, and even from that, he's doing his own thing now. It's got a really good story.
Yeah, it'll be fun. We've see Luke in his prime in this episode. It'll be fun to see Grogu in his prime.
Yeah,
hopefully he survives.
I'm sure we'll see more.
They're not going to kill him.
And I think with what they did with Mark, I think they'll bring back Mark as a consultant. I don't know if he'll be on set for everything. I could see them bringing back the stand-in guy who they had for this, and then just doing the face change as and when they need it. I think they should use him sparingly, but it does make sense for him to be in there every now and then. And especially, like, I think the thing that blew me away that I didn't know was the fact that the voice was completely digital.
Right.
That was
I felt
a
like
complete
they're doing
construction.
something.
Yeah, I mean, obviously they had him doing line reads on set and everything, but from what they were saying in the documentary, that it was a complete like computer creation, using archive stuff and the machine learning and basically deep faking.
Oh, and using like
voice.
the radio dramas.
Yeah, it's very cool.
Yeah.
Very, very cool.
So I'm thinking, why not? Since we have an Obi-Wan series with Hayden Christensen returning,
Yep.
a scene with Luke and Grogu consulting his 3 Force Ghost friends.
Yeah.
I mean, can you imagine
If you get that
Luke
deep
Skywalker
fake of
interacting with Ewan McGregor Hayden Christensen and Yoda. Like,
I mean, at that point, you've got to do the Ewan somewhere in between Alec Guinness and Ewan McGregor. Hayden, because of the changes that they made for the special edition and everything, you can have that be Hayden. And you got Frank Oz. Frank Oz always seems game, so use them while you can.
Yeah,
that'd be cool. Be very cool. It would scratch that itch that a lot of people wanted in Rise of Skywalker, where they wanted to see a lot of the Force Ghost.
Right. I think of everything. I mean, I'm not talking about Rise of Skywalker because I love it. I'm one of those.
I'm one of those.
That is one thing that I wish we could have seen, just because it was the capper to 9 films.
Yeah.
So it would have been nice to see it.
I don't think it needed to be everyone but essentially, I don't think it needed to be everyone that we got voices for. I loved all the voices.
But I like that it was. I think it would have been great if it was Luke, because she has a connection with Luke, and then you sort of branch off to like Obi-Wan and Anakin, and then branch off to like Qui-Gon and Yoda, and just sort of like her immediate contact is Luke Skywalker.
Yeah, essentially the family tree of who trained who trained who. Yeah. And
then you can kind of fade.
Probably leave out Dooku.
It's too late. It's already done.
Yeah.
I feel like Dooku wanted the galaxy to be better.
I mean,
but just
yeah. He had his ways. He had his means. He's the Magneto. Yeah. He's the Magneto of the Star Wars universe.
Yeah. Good call. Anything else for this show documentary?
I don't have anything. I thought it was interesting as well that the first time, and it makes sense, the first time that we had any John Williams score, they really put an emphasis on the weight that carries. Right. I'd have liked to have heard from Ludwig, seen what he thought, because I don't think it was pulled directly. It was probably re-recorded. Right. So to hear from him about having done the score for everything, and then getting to use a bit of John Williams music or like build it into it and then out of it would have been nice, but it was cool. And yeah, I mean that piece of music does carry a lot of weight. So. Right.
One last question here. It looked like they had a real skeleton crew on the set for the actual day of shooting, because they shot this in a day. If you're on the crew, how are you even dealing with any of this stuff?
I mean, I feel like you and I couldn't. I think that's the thing. You've got to be so desensitized to this stuff and to being around this stuff all the time that it's...
But I mean, listen, dude, this is Luke Skywalker. Do they tell that crew this is what's happening, or at the time, in the moment, do they think Plo Koon is walking through?
I think they tell them at the last possible moment that they need to tell them. I don't think Mark Hamill pulls his hood down and it's a surprise, because they'd have blown a couple of takes that they really didn't have the time to blow. But
there's going to be a moment where you're on set regardless, and you see Mark Hamill walks through the doors in that costume.
Yeah.
I'd be shaking so much.
Oh yeah.
So weird.
100%. I mean, if you're Mark Hamill's neighbors and you see some nice cars pull up outside and they've probably got a black box with a costume in it and a hood over a baby Grogu, like at that point you're like, can I see into his garden? Like, I mean, it looked like he had a very nice house, but who knows?
Right. I'm buddies with one of his sons and his daughter, and I've never once even contemplated talking to them about that. And it's fun when they do post pictures on Instagram with him. I'm like, I always do wait, him? He's your dad?
Yeah, you know that guy?
I don't know what I would do if I were to meet him, and I know I would embarrass myself. What I have in my mind is if I were to meet Mark Hamill and I start crying, I would just assume this is par for the course.
Yeah, he's probably used to it.
Yeah.
I think if it was a surprise, I would freak out and then be able to get my shit together. I think if it was a planned thing, I would freak out, be able to hold it together in the moment, and then freak out even more after.
Yeah, I don't know.
I think I could, just based on people that I've met.
Right, I don't know.
But it is different. You're right. It is.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's totally different.
Yeah, and I think a con setting versus a private setting would be two different things.
Yeah, definitely.
But I don't know. I love the dude.
Amazing.
I'm so happy to see him again.
And to see him doing this, where he this time round as well, it felt like he loved it. He seemed to be so into it.
I wonder if those dudes would just be like, would special edition this and just use the upgraded version.
I mean, they've made alterations to a lot of the other shows.
Yeah.
Like they've gone in and tweaked things after the
Gene's
fact.
guy.
Yeah, Gene's guy's gone. Rest in peace.
Rest in peace,
like
Gene's guy.
the very end of WandaVision, like weirdly they changed the post-credit scene and took out some stuff and then left in a weird artifact on the mountain. Like there's been all sorts of tweaks and changes. So maybe
you don't have to make a big deal about it. Just
do it. Just
plop it in there.
Yeah,
like they didn't mention Gene's guy.
No, it was just gone by the next week, wasn't it?
Yeah. Yeah, I love Luke Skywalker.
And I love Luke Skywalker, and I love seeing the weight that they had behind it all was great. Right. They knew what it was going to do.
Yeah. Whew. I'm glad I was able to keep it secret, even though we had our short list was like they're not going to do. I was like they're not going to do Ezra.
I didn't know what they were going to do, but I was in for the ride. I
think it was mostly it's got to be Luke. In my brain, it's got to be Luke. How are they going to do it? Are they even going to show him? If they do show him, is it just going to be Sebastian Stan? If it's not Sebastian Stan, the CG better be good. Like everything's going through my head. And just like talking with my friend Eddie, like texting him the day before, I'm like,
how
it better be good. It better be good. Like
I think that's the fear, isn't it?
It better be good.
Yeah.
And I was bawling like a baby. So
they nailed it. Nailed it.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah. This is weird because we know that on Tuesday our Star Tours episode is dropping. So go ahead and watch that in less than a week, just a couple days away. And then a special surprise, we have another bonus episode the following Tuesday where we're finally going to be talking about my wife building a lightsaber. We'll do a running commentary on it. And we recorded that already. I think it's one of my more favorite episodes that we've done just because it was all fun. And
that one's only going to be on YouTube as well. So make sure you're subscribed and tell everyone else to subscribe.
Yeah. If you want to see me cry in real time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's real. It happens. Star
Wars. I'm a 44-year-old boy. I really am. Especially when it comes to Star Wars. There's nothing like it. So join us next time in a couple days for that. And I think this is just a video episode. So I was going to say, anybody listening to the audio, go check out YouTube. But you're already on YouTube.
You're already here.
Unless someone pirated this and put it on some sort of site.
I mean, let us know. If you've put in that much effort, let us know.
Yeah. And tell your friends about the show and all that good stuff. Follow us on socials.
All the socials.
Live Action SW. I'm kind of getting more into the Twitter.
I noticed.
I'm starting to kind of like, I'm trying not, I really don't want negativity, but I took a little bit of a shot at Bad Batch and I deleted it. And I was just like, I don't need to take shots at Bad Batch. Bad Batch. It's fine. I watched it all.
I liked it. I liked it. I liked seeing Wayland at the end and Mount Tantis because hey, that's from a book that you've read.
Right. Right. But I said it. I think I said it somewhere else. But I like these animated series. Episode 1, the penultimate and finale of the seasons. Let's make the 3 best Bad Batch movies we can possibly make, and then just release those on Disney Plus. I don't need a whole season of your Moochies and Heras and Fennec's and all that
Everything else.
Stop bitching about Bad Batch. Ralph, this is live action Star Wars. We don't talk about those.
That's it.
All right. Yeah. See you in a couple days. Until then,
Yes.
may the force be with you.
Yeah, I don't have a good sign out for this one. May the force be with you.
What does Luke say? Doesn't Luke have a good final word?
Come, little one.
Training something? All right. Punch it.
Punch it.